District of Florida against Alan Grayson. I want to thank everybody for coming out today to our news conference, our supporters and you members of the media. I think we have one of the most defining moments of the race has just occurred. I think the big question in the race has been, is there any conservative that's going to be able to take out Alan Grayson and get this country back to the great founding fathers' values and principles, the great Reagan values and principles that worked so well for this country and made it the most uniquely prosperous, successful nation in the world? And the answer to that question is yes. Zogby International Poll, this is a national pollster. It's done a lot of presidential campaigns. It's now one of Alan Greyson's own little pollsters. It's got a great national reputation. It's come out with a poll. They did it through July 13th, July 15th, and it shows that we're beating Alan Grayson decisively. 46% for Todd Long, 38% for Alan Grayson. A 17-point. One-third Republican, one-third Democrat, one-third Independents, and the independent vote's going to decide the election. And we're beating Alan Grayson by 17 points among independent voters. Absolutely have a commanding, decisive margin of victory there. And a poll that's only got a 4% margin of error. I think another thing it shows is that Alan Grayson poll that he tried to use earlier, saying that he was actually winning the Republican primary, was a fraud on the people of this district. We know that's not the case, and I think he needs to be held to task for that poll. Fraud of the people's district. And the thing I want to tell you that I think is unique about our candidacy and why we're beating Alan Grayson and why we're so successful, not just with Republicans but with independents, is independents are looking for a solution-oriented candidate. And I'm the only one in the Republican primary that's put forth a whole set of specific solutions to our national challenges, and we've been fighting for them now for 5 or 6 years. They're not looking for a career politician. And the other thing the independent voters know is this. The Republican establishment failed all of us when they took the national debt to $5 to $9 trillion, when they had no energy policy and refused to do nuclear energy or drill, when they had no policy with respect to health care, wouldn't secure the borders. Everybody else in the Republican primary I'm running against sat silent, did nothing. I was one candidate that said this is wrong, this isn't Reaganism, this isn't our founding fathers' principles and values, this isn't what the Republican Party is supposed to be about. Independents hated what the Republican establishment did, conservatives hated what the Republican establishment did, Democrats hated what the Republican establishment did, and they threw us out of office like they should have. But what they didn't want to do is go to socialism. What you're finding out, what's happened, when Alan Grayson and Nancy Pelosi took office, they didn't tell the American public that they were going to ramp up the national debt and bankrupt this nation at an unprecedented rate. They didn't tell the American public that they were going to take our national debt and increase it by $1.5 trillion each year. Another $3 trillion added to the national debt in 2 years. They didn't tell the American public they were going to bail out banks and corrupt banks, Wall Street, states like California and other states that haven't managed their budgets well. This is all unconstitutional spending. It's a complete disaster for our children and for the nation, and it doesn't work. Alan Grayson has voted for Obamacare. Independents hate it. He voted for cap and trade. Independents hate it. He's voted for this $1.5 trillion new debt each year. Independents hate it. He's getting thrown out of his office. He's going home for 3 months. So enjoy the sign while you see it, because you guys going home where the socialist nation belongs.
Send them home.
The other thing that the independents want is not just Alan Grayson and Nancy Pelosi to go home, but they want somebody that can actually solve problems with some common sense solutions. We wrote a book, The Conservative Comeback, How to Win the Battle of the Soul of America. And the premise of the book was if George Washington and Thomas Jefferson were here today amongst us, if Reagan was here amongst us, what would they do? We know what their principles were. Christian values set with the limited federal government that does a few things and does it well. We know that what they said the federal government was limited to under our Constitution was this. You do a few things and do it well, and the states and individuals do everything they can for themselves. The federal government was designed to give us the greatest military in the world, take care of its veterans, secure the borders, and give us things like a national energy policy, things the states could do for themselves. And that's it. Education is something that's supposed to be done at the state level. Healthcare is something that's supposed to be done at the state level. And the only reason people want it done at the federal level is to bankrupt the nation and bankrupt the children, not because the federal government does these things well, as evident by our $100 billion in Medicare fraud in the system each year. You know, I mean, we've got, from the fair tax, one of the things people look at now is we got 15 million people unemployed. And instead of Alan Grayson sitting there coming up with solutions to get people back to work, he's running around screaming at people, screaming at Republicans, and calling women whores. It's absolutely unconscionable. He's not coming up with any solutions to problems. The fair tax will solve these problems. We have solutions that will end these problems. If you're a nation that can't create enough wealth, which we can't, we got a $14 trillion national debt, we We got seniors that are 35 million seniors, 65 and over. It's going to be 70 million over the next 30 years. Everybody knows Medicare is going bankrupt, Social Security going bankrupt, the states are going bankrupt. It seems to be the common sense solution is when you see all the jobs leaving for Saudi Arabia and China and India and other nations that have embraced some elements of privatization and capitalism. They have cheaper labor. You have to stop penalizing people for creating wealth. I mean, it's that simple. We've got a tax code of 60,000 pages of rules and regulations. Then who does it benefit? Career politicians that use a tax code for campaign contributions, so they give out tax breaks each year. We got 50% of Americans not paying into the tax code. We got illegal immigrants not paying into the tax code. We got criminals not paying into the tax code. And small businesses have given up. They said there's no way we can bear this burden where the government's looking at us to carry the whole burden, and they quit. If you don't have job creators, you don't have jobs. We're not making anything in this country anymore. This is not that complex. Any common sense person would be like, we need job creators, and they've all left the country because we've overtaxed them. Why don't we tell the job creators in the world we're not going to tax you or penalize you at all for creating wealth? We're going to tax everybody the same when we consume a product. You're here, this is going to be the most business-friendly country in the world like it was designed to be and it started out to be. And if we're not the economic power in the world, we're not going to be a military superpower much longer. The entire taxes you're paying now are just going to interest on the debt to make China even stronger. The thing's insane. And the Republican establishment's not doing anything about it. My primary opponents aren't doing anything about it. But for 5 to 6 years, we've written books, we've been on the radio, we've been in Kiwanis clubs, Rotary clubs, teaching the fair tax. We're supposed to all be treated the same. Why do we have our job creators trying to maneuver around the tax code and send their money offshore rather than creating the best products and services in the world? The people that work with their hands. Do we not care about these people? The people in the unions should be drastically supporting the fair tax. We don't make anything anymore. You know, the things like illegal immigration, everybody's sitting around doing nothing except Sheriff Joe in Arizona who's supporting us, Russell Pierce who wrote 1070 who's endorsed us. This is not a hard problem to solve. Secure the border. Secure the borders. Make sure, why do we have 15 million Americans without jobs? We got 8 million illegal immigrants with jobs, and we're supporting their health care, their education. The whole thing's insane, and we're writing unemployment checks for year after year to people without jobs. This nation is either going to be a nation that honors the rule of law or doesn't honor the rule of law. Right now we have Obama and Grayson and Pelosi don't care about the Constitution, don't care about the rule of law, do whatever they want, they rewrite bankruptcy laws, they don't execute the laws, and as Thomas Jefferson said, executing the law is more important than making them. Yeah. I mean, this is common sense, and the Tea Party folks know it, don't you? Yeah. We have a Constitution for a reason. The whole Constitution was a document to ensure that the federal government would only do a few things and do it well and preserve your freedom. And states' rights and individual rights, and they ignore the whole thing. Everybody knows it. Compassion is not putting giving your kids $14 trillion in debt with another $50 trillion of unfunded liabilities. Nothing compassionate about that. So we're here to announce that we're going to beat Alan Grayson. We ask that all conservatives join forces and find a candidate that's got the objective proof that he's going to beat Alan Grayson in November. It's 3 months to go. The Democrats aren't going to fix anything in 3 months. The good news of this day is Alan Greyson's defenseless. He's defenseless against the truth. He's defenseless against common sense solutions that the independents have already embraced. And he's defenseless against you, who have already said Todd Long is going to take him out here in 3 months. And we're going back to the founding fathers and Reagan solutions to our national challenges. Something that works every time.
All right.
So I'll be happy to take any of the press's questions or meet with you one-on-one after this conference. Maybe we can hear a little bit better.
Why did you choose this as a location for your press conference? Were you hoping that Congressman Grayson would come out here and get into
Alan Grayson is very much an in-your-face type guy. And I think it's important that, you know, while we can have a good Christian spirit about it and be people problem solvers, but it's going to be a very aggressive campaign against him. It's going to be in your face. One of the things I'm glad about as far as fighting battles in the courtroom and having to think on my feet and deal with people that are very aggressive and hostile and are screaming at you, we're going to be right in his face too with the truth. He can defend socialism all he wants, and I'll defend Reagan and Jefferson and Washington, and we'll see who's going to win this battle. But we want to let him know we're here. The facts are the facts, and his bogus polls, he's got to answer to his bogus polls. It was fraud against the people of this district. So we're right here, Mr. Grayson. You answer why you put out fraudulent polls for the people.
Do you know if he's even here?
What's that?
Do you know if he's even here?
I don't know where he is. I'm sure he's trying to spend somebody else's money right now.